The Swiss paradox. Imagine a country that looks doomed from the start. A land with no access to the sea, no oil, no major natural resources, and nearly 60% of its territory covered by mountains. Nothing suggests economic success. Nothing hints at global prosperity. And yet, this small nation has become one of the wealthiest places on Earth. Here, a cashier earns around €52,000 per year, and an engineer often exceeds €102,000 annually. Switzerland is a symbol of stability, security, innovation, and exceptional living standards. So how did a small, resource-poor country manage to build such an extraordinary model of success? How did it transform its weaknesses into powerful economic advantages? And what makes Switzerland one of the most envied nations in the world? To understand this, we must go back, far back, to where the story truly begins. Part 1. The unexpected roots of Swiss neutrality, neutral gold. We often imagine Swiss neutrality as a peaceful philosophical choice. But the truth is very different. For centuries, Switzerland was not a calm, prosperous country. It was unstable, divided, and known above all for exporting mercenaries. The best-known symbol of that era is the Pontifical Swiss Guard, still active today at the Vatican. Then came a turning point, 1815, the Congress of Vienna. After the Napoleonic Wars, Europe's great powers, Austria, Prussia, Russia, and the United Kingdom, wanted stability. So they imposed permanent neutrality on Switzerland. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't a moral decision. It was a geopolitical necessity. A century later, in 1914, this imposed neutrality becomes a treasure. During World War I, Switzerland transforms into Europe's safe. For three decisive reasons. 1. Physical safety. The nations involved in the war are too busy fighting each other to invade a mountainous country with little strategic value. 2. Monetary stability. While neighboring countries print massive amounts of money to finance the war, causing extreme inflation, Switzerland stays out of the conflict. The Swiss franc remains strong. 3. Tax pressure. Taxes skyrocket across Europe to fund the war. Capital flees and lands in Swiss banks. Bank deposits triple. Neutrality, once a constraint, suddenly becomes neutral gold. Part 2. Armed neutrality and banking secrecy, a survival strategy. But Switzerland soon realizes something crucial. Neutrality alone does not guarantee safety. Belgium's invasion in 1940 proves that clearly. So Switzerland upgrades its strategy. It decides to arm its neutrality. It must become so essential, financially and diplomatically, that no one dares touch it. In 1934, the country adopts one of its most famous laws, banking secrecy, including numbered accounts. A level of confidentiality unmatched anywhere else. At the same time, the military develops the concept of the national redoubt. Tunnels, bridges, and key infrastructures are mined. The Gotthard Tunnel itself was heavily packed with explosives. The goal isn't to win a war against a major power. The goal is to make any invasion too expensive, too slow, too painful. The mountains become a fortress. Even today, this mentality remains visible. Mandatory military service, around 28 firearms per 100 inhabitants, one of the lowest crime rates in Europe, and nuclear shelters for the entire population, compared to just 4% in France. Part 3. An economy far bigger than the stereotypes. People often associate Switzerland with banks and watches. But these industries are actually small parts of the economy. Banking, 10% of GDP, watchmaking, 1.5%. The real Swiss power lies elsewhere. 1. Maritime transport. Despite being landlocked, Switzerland is home to MSC, the world's largest container shipping company. 2. Commodity trading. Geneva is a global hub for oil, grain, and raw materials. Major companies like Vitol and Cargill operate from there. 3. Pharmaceuticals and chemicals. This is the heart of the Swiss economy. 7% of GDP and nearly 50% of exports come from this sector, dominated by Roche and Novartis. Switzerland exports value, precision, and high-end technology. Part 4. The deep secrets behind Swiss success. Several pillars explain Switzerland's remarkable rise. A strategic location. Switzerland is at the center of the Blue Banana, Europe's richest economic corridor. A culture of innovation and excellence. Switzerland doesn't compete on low prices. It competes on quality. It ranks number 1 worldwide for innovation. A unique education system. At age 16, 70% of students enter apprenticeships. Technical jobs are respected and well paid. A beginner carpenter earns around 4,000 Swiss francs net. Swiss universities like EPFL and ETH Zurich rank among the best in the world. A stable, participatory political system. Direct democracy allows citizens to vote on almost everything. The country is pragmatic, organized, and its trains are 93% on time. Exceptional financial discipline. In 2001, citizens voted 85% in favor of a debt brake. Since then, the state is not allowed to spend more than it earns. Result: Switzerland expects a budget surplus in 2024. Part 5. The high price of prosperity. Swiss wealth doesn't erase its challenges. The median salary is 7,000 Swiss francs, but the cost of living is extremely high. Food is 58% more expensive than in France. In real purchasing power, Swiss people are only 30 to 50% richer than the French. Healthcare is excellent but very expensive. Mandatory insurance costs 350 to 450 Swiss francs per month, per person. Housing is a constant issue. Only 42% of people own their homes. There's a housing shortage, and prices are very high for young people. Inequalities remain. 8.1% poverty, and a 19% gender wage gap, worsened by expensive childcare. Conclusion: a brilliant model, but perhaps at its peak. Switzerland is a living paradox. A land without sea, without oil, without flat terrain, yet one of the richest nations in the world. Its model depends on a very specific form of neutrality, a model that almost no other country can copy, especially large powers like France. But future challenges are growing: productivity slowdown, heavy dependence on the pharmaceutical industry for R&D, delays in artificial intelligence, 12th worldwide, and a slow energy transition, with strong dependence on oil and gas.